My name is Mika. I am the Outreach and Student Recruitment Coordinator at Laurier. That is me on the left. I describe my role essentially as helping prospective students and their families figure out if Laurier is right for them. So if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you want to know what our program can do to further your career goals, that's why I'm here, to be able to help you make that really important decision moving into university. Now, someone who's not here, she's on a very well-deserved vacation, is Kathy Gauchi. So she is our academic advisor, so the person that will help guide you through your degree while you're at Laurier. But the other great portion is that she is our auditions coordinator. So throughout that process, you are going to get to know her very well. She will be sending you lots of emails, will be engaging with you about picking your audition date, which we'll talk about at length. She's not here today, but she's very accessible by email, and I can answer pretty much everything she can as well. So if you do, or if you are here for audition questions specifically, we will talk about that and answer anything that you may want to know. We do have a bunch of faculty joining us this evening. 2 are here now, maybe more have joined, but I first wanted to introduce our voice coordinator, Leslie Fagan. Leslie, can you say hello?
Hi, everybody. I'm looking forward to chatting with you. Hopefully, you'll come and visit me in my wee breakout room. Lots of things I can share. See you soon.
Perfect. And I see some more people coming. So we're going to move to Lee Willingham next. Lee, could you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My role among many is to coordinate the music education and to work in the community music field. So I'm happy to discuss either of those 2 areas with you. I've been a choral coordinator for many years, and I can talk about the choral ensembles as well.
Perfect. And I see Peter Shackleton and Derek Conrad as well. So they are and let them introduce themselves, actually. What areas you're representing?
Hi, I'm Peter Shackleton, and I'm the coordinator of winds, brass, and percussion, and I teach clarinet in the music faculty. And
I'm Derek Conrad, and I teach French horn, but I'm open to talking to anybody who's interested in the brass end of things at the school tonight.
Wonderful. I'm just scanning to see if our other faculty are here yet. No, they'll be joining us a bit later. So we do have individuals coming from our keyboard area. We also have a music therapist coming. And on top of that, we have our, oh my goodness, I'm blanking, strings. We have strings instructors coming as well. So they will be here to answer your questions in the breakout room. But for now, we're going to get started. I do have the chat open. So if you do have questions, either for one of the faculty you've seen tonight, you can pop it in there, or you can pop it to me and I will try to answer them throughout the presentation and at the end. So let's get started. So a little bit about Laurier, the faculty as a whole, what we want you to experience while you are here. We think that we offer, and we do feel based on our students' feedback, a student experience that inspires. We have a lot of one-of-a-kind programs at Laurier that they're only available here. So it's a great place when you're thinking about trying to set yourself apart from others and show that those unique attributes in terms of what we offer in programs. Developing the whole person. We really want both your education, the holistic success of what you're doing at university to flourish. And we want to make sure that we help you through that. We are primarily undergraduate. And what that means is that there are many more opportunities for you. So a bachelor's degree, the very first degree that you complete after high school, is an undergraduate degree. So our orchestra, our ensembles, our opera, the primary students that are in those opportunities are undergraduate students. So that's a really great attribute. And then professional faculty. We have professionals within our faculty complement that are doing things. So Leslie Fagan is going to sing at Carnegie Hall in a few weeks, but she's also could be your teacher. So to be able to have professionals that are performing, that are doing research is really amazing to be able to show you what the real world of music looks like beyond your time at Laurier. This is our new dean. So her name is Cynthia Johnston Turner, and she comes to us from the University of Georgia. She is a Canadian, but she spent most of her time teaching at schools like Eastman and Cornell, and she joined us as Dean of the Faculty of Music in July of this year. So I'm just going to read her quote aloud. I applaud the Faculty of Music's forward-leaning curriculum and programming, and the appetite to continue to innovate, continually questioning the status quo in terms of how we do things, and then more importantly, why we do things. Why we do the things we do is crucial as we navigate together what it means to be a musician in the 21st century. So we have someone at the helm of our faculty that is really focused on improving what we're doing to push us forward, especially with the pandemic and everything that's changed within this music universe that we're in. Our dean wants to make sure that we're preparing students for the future, for what is facing them now. So I think it's really amazing. And she is wonderful. She's very engaged on our social media as well. So if you'd like to connect with her as well, she would love to hear from you. These are renderings of our new Faculty of Music building that will be coming our way. So this can just give you a feel if you've been to Laurier before. A lot of what is here is already there, but this is some really exciting visuals of what the future of our practice rooms and our performance spaces look like, what's to come. Now, we have 3 main undergraduate programs. And remember, I said undergraduate is that first degree that you complete after high school. We do have some master's programs. So if you are here for questions regarding those degrees, I can talk about them at the very end. But the main 3, Bachelor of Music in Community Music, and Bachelor of Music Therapy. Now, there may be some individuals joining us tonight that want to know a little bit about how they can do music at Laurier, while not maybe focusing on it. So what I'm going to do now is talk a little bit about the music minor we offer, just in case that you're only here for that portion. You can ask your music minor questions, and then you can have the rest of the night off or continue and stay and join us. It's up to you. So music minor at Laurier, it consists of 3.0 credits, which is about 6 courses. You do not need to apply for the music minor. This is something you can engage in terms of choosing courses that are available for you. So there is no application, there's no audition. One thing to note is that there aren't lessons with this music minor. So it isn't something you're able to add on, but there still are performance opportunities. The courses that you take come from 3 main categories. So culture and society, performance and production, and style and structure. Now we have a large list of the different courses that you can take. Every single term we offer a mix of different courses. So we don't offer all 50 available courses every single year. We offer them each term kind of on a rotation. So you can come in, look at some technique courses, some history, some production, or you can join our ensemble as well. There is an audition to join the ensemble. So if you are interested in performing in our orchestra and one of our choirs, you can audition to move into that once you get to Laurier. So not something you need to do now, but something that you can engage with once you choose Laurier for another one of the fabulous programs that we offer. So that's kind of the rundown of the music minor. Is there any questions before we move on to our main undergrad programs? I'll just wait a second in the chat. I don't see anything, so I'll keep that up just in case, but that's a bit about music minor at Laurier. And then we're going to move to the Bachelor of Music. So in the Bachelor of Music, we are training musicians of all interests. So we want to take what you love about music and allow you to focus in on that while giving you some core courses that will follow through your first, second, third, and fourth year. But you can see the list there of the different options there are to enhance your degree. So you wouldn't just be receiving a Bachelor of Music. You could tack on any of these specializations based on the courses that you choose to take. Performing opportunities are endless. Each year, you'll be placed in one of our ensembles where you'll learn to train under the direction of our talented faculty, performing in the Maureen Forrester Recital Hall. And we're very excited to announce that we are moving back to in-person concerts. So our ensembles are practicing together. Last weekend, we had our opera excerpts perform. So it's a great time to be a musician at Laurier because we are doing things in person. So if that is something that maybe you aren't getting in your high school setting right now, just note that coming to Laurier will offer you those in-person opportunities while still being very safe and applying all of the COVID kind of protocols the university wants and needs. Your success is our passion. We want to focus you on excelling in the areas that you're interested in and ensure that you as a musician, as an artist, as a human is being very fulfilled. Now, when we go into a little bit more about what that all means, so private lessons and master classes, so that kind of those core things that will follow you through the program are the ensemble, but it will also be those 60-minute lessons that you have with an instructor. So let's say Leslie is your voice instructor. That's who you're paired with. Leslie has students in first, second, third, and fourth year. So she teaches all years of the program, those individual lessons, but then they also meet together to perform for one another in those masterclass settings. So it's a wonderful opportunity for you as a first year to get to know a fourth year, and also for a fourth year student to mentor those underneath them where they were only a short few years before. So it's a really wonderful sense of community that we have to be able to engage with students in all years of the program. Those specializations I mentioned, so music education, composition, integrated musical arts, all of those, you don't have to actually decide what you want to pursue until your second year. So we do have the opportunity in our audition portal, which we'll chat about, to say what you're interested in, but in no way, shape, or form are you tied to what that is. Kathy, our auditions coordinator, says that 50% of people change their mind. So there's a good chance that you may change your mind. Maybe you won't, which is totally fair, but there is lots of flexibility, which is pretty great. Coach accompanists. Leslie, could I ask you to actually just talk about the value of what coach accompanists mean, and especially subsidized coach accompanists in your studio?
Sure, I'm happy to do that. One of the things that Laurier offers is that as part of your tuition, your collaborative pianist or coach accompanist is paid for. So in other studios, other schools, that's something that you have to go out and hunt for yourself. Laurier prides itself on having professionals who are dedicated to the studio. So I have one collaborative pianist for my studio, as do my colleagues, and that person becomes your almost second teacher, guides you in your studies of your one-on-one instrument. And that's not just in voice. That's something that is in every single instrument, voice instrument you choose, except for piano. Piano doesn't need a collaborative pianist, but because they already are. But other than that, everybody else gets some help from a professional, somebody who's paid for by the university.
And one thing to note is that as part of our auditions, you are able to use our coach accompanists to accompany you. And again, they are professional, free of charge. So if you'd like to come in and use them for your audition, you can, or you could bring your own, up to you. And then finally, ensembles. I mentioned that students are put in an ensemble every single year. You may be in one ensemble in first year, a different one in second year, but we do try to make sure that our ensembles are chosen carefully. So there are auditions each year to make sure that we're accommodating what we need musically. Oh, so we're going to stop talking about Bachelor of Music and transition to Bachelor of Music and Community Music shortly. Feel free again to pop questions in the chat, and then we'll have those breakout rooms where you can talk a little bit more as well. So Bachelor of Music and Community Music. Now, Leah, I'm going to put you on the spot for a minute. Are you able to give me the very brief but most engaged version of what community music is? Can you give me a definition of community music?
How much time do I have?
30 seconds.
So community music is really difficult to define. That's my definition. But I will say that it's an emerging discipline globally, and it is a study that develops leadership in community music activities. It reflects the culture of the community that it's in. So community music in Ireland or in England or in Italy is really different than community music in North America. But what we seek to do in community music is to use music as a vehicle to enhance the lives of people in community, whether that is health and well-being, whether it's dealing with social concerns, whether it's focusing on the aging population, but our students become skilled in dealing with a variety of musical groups, ensembles, social settings, where they can bring music in a participatory way. I've written books on this, and they're very long, and it's very hard to get a more concise definition than that, but I'm available to go a little more deeply into the details later on, and I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you, Lee. Yeah, so Lee is one of the first people that I heard what community music was all about from. So his books, like we mentioned, have really helped shape what we do in our program. We also have a Master of Arts in Community Music, which is where community music started its roots at Laurier. But here I've written you will lead music initiatives that have social impact. So that was one of the avenues that Lee mentioned, the social impact of how we apply music in communities of all shapes and sizes, and also with people who are musicians and non-musicians. So how do we engage people who have some musical skills and then have nothing and want to still be part of what's going on? We're going to do that both through lectures and readings, but we're also doing that through music making, through experiential learning. So you're going to apply different contexts or different things that you learn in the community. So you'll be in small groups, you'll be leading things with your peers. Obviously, before the pandemic, we were able to go out to a lot more various different types of settings, but still, as we're moving out of the pandemic and things are changing, our students are still making connections, which is pretty wonderful within the community and beyond. And then the big part of getting into the program is it is a flexible audition. And by flexible, I mean is we are looking for you to show what you do musically best. So it doesn't have to fit one genre, it doesn't have to be one instrument. I did talk to someone that's here tonight, I believe, who plays piano, saxophone, voice, like they have a mix of everything. So just to keep that in mind, that the audition requirements are a little bit more flexible than what you may think of being right now. So a couple other areas, capstone projects. So you'll be paired with a faculty member to work towards creating a music initiative with a social impact. So in your very fourth year, you will actually be going out into the community, whether it's creating a business, doing a research project, engaging with different groups, doing an event, a concert, and how are you going to present yourself to the community and get engagement, but then also thinking about maybe what you'd like to do long-term with your career and how you can apply that. So last year, especially with the pandemic and our capstone projects, there was a lot of talk about mental health. So how can we use music to be able to connect with people during the pandemic and create that kind of sense of community without being next to each other in a physical space? So it was really amazing how we were able to kind of pivot and apply again those musical initiatives with that impact into the pandemic world that we were thrust upon. Group instrument techniques. So you will be learning multiple instruments within this program, placements in the Kitchener-Waterloo community, and you'll also be part of the community music ensemble. They just had a concert a few weeks ago, which I couldn't go to because it's at night and I have a young baby who has to go to sleep and I have to be at home with her. But there is a range of different artists, a range of different types of music that was performed that evening, which is pretty wonderful. So yeah. I don't see any questions. So either I'm doing a really wonderful job or no one's able to type questions. So hopefully everybody's on the same page and going well. Bachelor of Music Therapy. I'm not sure if Elizabeth has joined us yet. If you have joined us, Elizabeth, can you jump on quickly? She's coming from a class, so she's probably not here quite yet. But Elizabeth Mitchell is the coordinator of our Bachelor of Music Therapy, and she will be here this evening. So you can go into her room at 7:30 and ask some more specific questions. Maybe ask her for that definition like I did of Lee of what music therapy is in her mind. I'm sure she'll have a similar, how many minutes do you have? But we are the only Bachelor of Music Therapy in Ontario. So if you want to study the discipline of music therapy, if you want to work towards being an accredited music therapist in Canada, right from that undergraduate degree, that bachelor's degree, we are the place to be able to do that. We do use a music-centered focus and kind of similar in some ways to community music. You'll be applying music to different community settings in some case, in group settings, but there's a therapeutic part of what we're doing. So there is training to be able to get you to the place where you can be in a clinical situation and be applying those musical techniques with clients one-on-one and in groups. So lots of placements. You also will participate in a 1,000-hour internship, making you eligible to write the Certification Board of Music Therapists exam. So to be a music therapist in Canada, you require a degree. 1,000-hour internship, and you are required to write that board exam and pass it, which most of our students, if not all of them, do, because we're preparing you with that degree to be able to successfully write that. So we provide you everything to get to the point of writing the exam, and then with your Bachelor of Music Therapy, you can be a working music therapist, like it says down there, in Canada and the USA. Placements and internship. So third year, there are group placements. Fourth year, again, group placements. The main thing with the internship is that starting in the winter of your fourth year, you'll no longer be taking classes at Laurier. Instead, your class will be your internship. So if any of you are doing co-op kind of in high school, instead of a class, you do your co-op placement for credit. So that's what our internship is. It's an internship where it is your classwork essentially. You'll be checking in with supervisors and checking in to be able to provide feedback on what you're doing, but you're going to get that real professional understanding of what it is like to be a music therapist working in Ontario. You do interview for the placement. So we have a number of organizations that come to us looking for our students to join us as interns. You will interview for them, and then the businesses themselves will choose who they are interested in having. But it could be anywhere in the Kitchener-Waterloo area. And then we also are part of a lot of the major hospitals in Toronto. So that may also decide where you'd like to go based on where you want to live. And then students will graduate in the fall. So whereas your peers will be graduating in the spring, they'll be finishing their courses and graduating, you will be waiting until the fall to graduate when you complete that internship. I'm sure there'll be lots more music therapy questions. There typically is, but like I mentioned, Elizabeth Mitchell, the coordinator of the degree, will be a great resource for you in a few minutes. Okay, we're going to jump into our audition process. Oh, Kavya has a question. Is there an intro to music therapy course that one can take in first year to see if it is a good fit? That is a wonderful question. Yes. So as part of your credits in your very first year, both for community music or the Bachelor of Music, I should mention our Bachelor of Music and our Bachelor of Music in Community Music can lead into music therapy. That's something that's definitely missing from my slide. So you do have to be registered in either of those programs, and your first 2 years will be spent in either music or community music. And then at the end of the second year, that's when you apply to make the transition to music therapy. In your very first year at Laurier, in your elective space, you can take Intro to Music Therapy, which is one of the mandatory courses that are required to eventually make that transition. So yes, very first year, you take Intro to Music Therapy, and that's when you can kind of figure out, is this right for me? Is this the type of feel? And again, back to what Kathy said about 50% of students changing their mind. That's a great opportunity to take the course and see if it's right for you. So yes, I should also mention Intro to Music Therapy is required in your first year, as well as Psychology 1 and Psychology 2. Okay, we're going to move to audition procedures. So a couple of the changes that we're making for this year is that we are offering in-person or virtual auditions, depending on what you're most comfortable with. We will be abiding by all of Laurier's COVID-19 requirements. So students will have to be vaccinated to be able to attend their in-person audition. We will be doing masking and social distancing and all of that kind of stuff. So just to keep that in mind when you're deciding on an in-person or virtual audition. And I should mention, we're very service oriented. So if you're worried, if you're thinking, I'm not sure what to choose, you can reach out to us. We are real human beings on the other side of all of these conversations. So we want to talk to you and help you figure out what the best choice for you is, how to prepare, all of that. So don't think you're going to see us tonight and we'll never be around again. We are here for you. So just to keep that in mind. How to apply. So if you are in high school, you should be receiving a login PIN from your school to be able to apply. You'll be applying through the Ontario University's Application Center. If you are not currently in high school, you won't receive your login from your high school. You will instead be applying as a 105 applicant on the OUAC website. So you are a 101 applicant if you're in high school and your school gives you the PIN. You're a 105 applicant if you're not in an Ontario high school getting a PIN from a teacher. December 15th, we have our audition portal that will go live, and students can then begin to apply for their audition time and date. We are offering 2 early audition dates. So December 4th and December 11th are those days. And right now we have about 6 people that have signed up for an early audition. So if that is of interest to you, if you would like to know before 2022 whether or not you've been admitted to our program, we would encourage you to apply as soon as you can and then contact us. We do reach out to everybody within a few days of them applying online. So you will hear from us again saying that you can choose an early audition. But if that's of interest to you, just make sure you have applied ASAP. And then finally, looking at your audition requirements online is very important. If you're not quite sure, every school has different audition requirements. So it's good to check and make sure. Here tonight, again, we have winds, brass, and percussion, we have voice, we have piano in terms of those studio areas that you would be able to ask specifically what audition requirements they have. And again, in person, virtually, it is up to you. If you do choose virtually, it is a pre-recorded video. So you'd be pre-recorded and then we would be doing a Zoom interview with you. So to keep that in mind. So then admission as a whole is based on these 4 things. So we are looking for a 75% average on your top 6 U or M courses, a 60% in a 4U English. These are Ontario high school requirements. So if you're not an Ontario high school student, if you're a college or university student, you can send me a message and I can give you a bit more info on it, what would apply for that. So we're looking at your academics, your audition, interview, which is really just to get to know you. What are you interested in with music? What do you want to do long term? What do you like about high school music? What do you do extracurricularly? We want to see if it is a good fit for you to join us at Laurier. And then finally, a reference. So we want someone that can speak about your musical abilities. You don't need them to go and write out or type out a reference letter. You will provide us their email and we will send them specific questions to answer. Talking quickly, but I'm just cognizant of time because it's almost 7:30. Receiving an offer. So very first, you will receive a recommendation. So you'll get an email from our dean recommending that we offer you a spot in our program. And what that means is that your audition, your interview, all of that looks wonderful. But now we just need our recruitment and admissions office to make sure academically you're able to join us. They will be the ones that send you your official offer of admission, and that will be done virtually. And you must decide what school you're going to by June 1st. So the sooner you audition, the sooner you receive an offer, the sooner you can tour the schools. We are doing in-person tours again, have some lessons with our instructors and be able to figure out, is Laurier where I want to go? Last year, we gave out through our audition portal, we offered $350,000 of audition scholarships. So we do provide audition scholarships to students based on the strength of their audition. That can range anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000. It really depends on the package that you put forth, both in your audition and your interview, as to whether or not or what we can offer you financially. We also do have academic scholarships. That is separate from this number. So that's a good thing that it's separate. That number is also a large number. And that can range from $1,500 to $4,000, depending on your grades. And that begins at 80% and goes up to 95 to 100 for that 4,000. And if you're in that 95 to 100% average on those top 6 courses, that money is renewable. So $4,000 renewable in years 1 through 4, which is pretty great. And we did a survey last year. So of all the students that applied and auditioned at Laurier, both those who accepted and did not accept, we were the #1 audition experience. So we pride ourselves on what we're able to offer. And last year we did everything virtually. So we were pretty proud of our audition experience before, but to be able to have that many students who, again, students that didn't even choose us at the end of the day, because we know people will go elsewhere, still think we were #1 was amazing. And then the top 3 reasons students chose our program: academic programs, academic reputation, and the feeling I will fit in. And that's a big thing I want you to think about is when you're choosing a university, where do I feel like I'm going to be the most comfortable? Where do I feel that my interests will lie? Where will I be accepted? Where will I thrive? Because the more you feel like you will thrive and that you will feel like you're part of your community, more likely the better you're going to do in your classes, the more engaged you will be, the more extracurriculars you may choose to do. And that's only going to lead to more and more engagement that will allow you to pursue the career you want at the end of the day. So yeah, keep that in mind. And stay connected. So we have the opportunity for you to complete complimentary trial lessons. I see there's some questions. I'm gonna put my email in the chat. Just one second. I don't see everyone for some reason. Leslie, can you type my choosemusic@wlu.ca email in the chat quickly? Just send it to everyone if you don't mind. So if you would like to do a trial lesson, if you're applying for our Bachelor of Music, you can apply or you can request a trial lesson and we will pair you up with one of our instructors. We have all of our faculty and staff listed online so you can go through and see who you may want to have a lesson with. If you're in community music, we can offer you an audition prep session so we can talk to you about your audition requirements and see if you're on track. We do until November 22nd till November 22nd, we have our mentorship program open. So if you would like to receive mentorship during the winter term, it's for about 8 weeks. You can be paired with one of our upper year students to meet with on a weekly basis to provide guidance and preparation for your audition. Some students are just looking to chat with someone that's interested in music in the same way they are, that's kind of performing at a higher level. Yeah, you can apply for that. And again, if you'd like to be part of that, you can email choosemusic@wlu.ca. And then we also have our virtual audition webinar. So we will walk you through what the audition process will look like in a bit more detail. So if you apply, we will send you a link for that. So yeah, we want you to stay connected. That email, choosemusic@wlu.ca, comes directly to me. So it's me. And I am here to help you. So please, if this can be fairly overwhelming, just email us the question. I'm happy to meet with you virtually, meet with you in person, help you book an in-person campus tour. There's lots that can be done. My first name is Mika. Someone asked. Also, Rachel, could you resend the link to Jerzy Kaplanik? Oh, there he is. Never mind. He joined. He found the link. I just got a text from him. I saw. Is a virtual audition judged harder than a live audition? Leslie, I was just going to say, Leslie shaking her head. No. Can you give insight into that, Leslie?
As a matter of fact, there's 2 questions there that seem to be back to back about auditions, and I'm happy to answer if that's all right. So is a virtual audition judged harder than a live audition? That's not the way that it's been my experience at all. We just really want to hear you. That's the bottom line is we are very excited to hear people who are really interested in music. We want to hear what you have to offer. And I see Peter shaking his head going, We just really want to hear people play. We want to hear people sing. We get so darn excited. It's the most fun part of the year. So no, it's not judged harder, and it's not judged less either. I think we try to keep the same even keel through the whole thing. And then the other one is Larissa's question is, what kind of questions will the interview consist of? So it's nothing to study for. We really want to know who you are. Like, what makes you tick when you're not doing music? Do you have a dog? We really want to get to know you. That's what this is about. We want you to tell us your story. Because that's what we do. We help you with your story when you get here. So we want to know your story. That's what it basically boils down to. Emily asked who is eligible for scholarships. Mika, do you want to do that one or do you want me to do that?
You can do it.
When you audition to come to the school, everybody who walks in the door is eligible for a scholarship in principle. But what we do is we award scholarships for all sorts of different reasons, and that changes between disciplines. The school, the university as a whole, awards your academic scholarships. But we as a faculty of music award your ability, your potential, what you've shown us of who you are as a human being. That's how scholarships work in music. Have I missed anything there, Lee or Peter, in that regard?
I actually have a question that I'm going to put on you, Leslie, to answer.
Okay.
Is the focus of the program classical music? Is there any contemporary music? Can you give your insight into that?
Well, I can speak to the voice area. So, and I know that I certainly know that with the instruments that that they have their own things. But when you're talking about the voice area, do we do contemporary music? We do classical contemporary music, meaning that um, we do music that is recently written. It is a classically based program, but we also do some musical theater. We are very inclusive in our musical choices. So part of the curriculum is to make sure that you are discovering the music of LGBTQ, people of color, people of indigenous, it's the whole gamut. If you are in community music, it's a different thing. Community music has a broad base of musical styles from which to choose, much broader than we do in the classically based program.
I'll jump in there, Leslie, if
Thanks
that's okay.
greatly. Thank you.
I taught high school for 15 years before I moved over to the dark side. And I had many students in my program that loved music and didn't want to quit music in high school, but they didn't focus on a particular instrument in a particular genre sufficiently to qualify to get into a music program, i.e. they didn't practice the piano or their voice or a woodwind instrument or something, to get to the level that typically was accepted. But they were brilliant musicians and they were really brilliant students. So one of the sort of reasons for the community music program is to give a place for those students who want to go into music education perhaps, or maybe music therapy, or maybe they just want to become entrepreneurial musicians out there, but they're probably going to be multi-instrumentalists. And so they will be looking at music of popular culture. I was at the concert last Sunday night. We heard some hip hop, we heard some heavy metal, we heard some folk, we heard some kind of world music or global music flavors. So the community music culture embraces a wider range of musical practices. And I see Jacob's question around mixing and producing. In the community music area, there are streams for that. There have been elective courses that have been offered in music recording, music mastering, music mixing. And I don't know the status of those courses right now, but in the community music world, that is part of the program. I hope that helps.
Thanks, Lee. I appreciate that. So I see the questions have kind of slowed down. If I have missed something, I'm going to be in this main room as we transition to our breakout rooms. But I just wanted to, so we have Lee Willingham for community music and music education. But like he mentioned, he was also the choral director and led one of our choirs for many years. Leslie Fagan is our voice coordinator. Peter Shackleton and Derek Conrad are winds, brass, and percussion. And that's the room area they will be in. And I've also seen Jerzy Kaplanik. Can you introduce yourself quickly, Jerzy?
Yes, hello, good evening. I'm the stringer coordinator. I coordinate the strings, I teach violin, I play with the Penderecki string quartet with my other colleagues that teach at Laurier, the respectful instruments, and I'm happy to talk to anyone who's interested in this program. I'll be here.
Perfect. And then we also have Elizabeth Mitchell. Elizabeth, can you introduce yourself?
Hi there, everyone. My name is Liz Mitchell, and I am a music therapist, and I coordinate the Bachelor of Music Therapy program. The music therapy program starts in third year, so you won't be auditioning directly to get into music therapy, but if you're interested in music therapy, then please drop by my room. I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
Thank you. And then we also have Elaine Lau and Joseph Ferretti, and they're here representing our keyboard area. Can you introduce yourself?
Good evening. Hi, we are
Joe Ferretti
and Elaine Lau, and we'll be happy to chat with you tonight. Drop by.
Perfect. So what will happen is we're going to be here about 45 minutes or so, like till about 8:15-ish. So you can move between the rooms. Again, I will be here in this main room. Rachel is going to, she's the Laurier student recruitment person. She is going to open our breakout rooms. And you can feel free to ask questions. You can jump on your camera. You can come in here and jump on your camera, completely up to you. We would love to meet you and love to engage with you a little bit more.